everyone. My name is Ritesh Osta and I'm from Innofied, turning your great idea into user happy products. And today with me is Swarnendu De. He is the co-founder and the CEO of Innofied. Swarnendu, just say hi. And I am leading the marketing team here in Innofied for past many years. And between the two of us, we have got more than 20 years of experience in this. And today, we are going to talk about a very interesting and important topic. 10 important questions you should be asking yourself before you create your first application. So Swarnendu, what's your thought on this?
See, there's a very common trend about how people generally get started with mobile application development. And this is a trend almost everyone follows. Right? Whenever there is an idea coming to them, or maybe they are finalizing, they are going to probably friends and families to get that validated. And once it is validated, they immediately start looking for the development partner and get started with it. Okay? But that, sometimes that creates a lot of issues, because what may happen is you are not even asking a lot of questions, you are not doing a lot of homework, and then you are jumping into developing the application, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
Maybe that is not the right way, right? And
Yes.
that often we have seen, even for a lot of our customers, that turns into a failure.
All right. So very quick insight into this. So what you are saying is that sometimes people just jump into creating an application. So what are the kind of mistakes generally startup a newbie does when it comes to mobile application development?
There are few crucial things that we have found. The first one should be the lack of scope. A lot of people who come to us, probably they have a very serious idea, but they don't have a well documented scope. So when they come to us and we ask a lot of questions, and then they find out that, okay, these are the things we didn't even think of. So that is one of the major ideas. Sometimes, people are not very confident about what is the core idea of their application. So they have a lot of things in mind and they come up with a lot of ideas, too many ideas together. That creates a problem. And the other thing is, a number of times people don't have a fixed set of features. So whenever we are starting the application, probably the development has already been started, right? And then they think of that, this idea we could still integrate there, or what about adding this particular idea in the application? And that creates a lot of issues, because in the end, whatever is becoming, that is not becoming what we generally started with. So that is one of the major issues.
Yes, I think that is a major issue that plagues our industry as a whole. You tend to start on something and then you end up doing a lot more things, or a lot less thing, or even worse, a lot different things on what you intended to start. Okay, very good. Thank you so much, Swarnendu, for your insight. I want to now quickly jump into the top 10 questions, and I just quickly want to go into our first question. All right, so the first question is it possible to summarize your mobile application in just 2 to 3 sentences? Your thoughts, Swarnendu?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of times, as I said earlier, that for your product, you should have a very clear focus. So maybe you are starting up with your MVP or maybe the full application. You should be able to summarize your application idea in 2 to 3 sentences.
And as far as I remember, all the big companies like Airbnb, you can just summarize the entire business model possibly in just 2 to 3 sentences. Okay, it's it's an app to book your next bread and breakfast rental. It's
Right.
pretty simple. Uber, it's your own taxi, with a personal chauffeur. All right. So all the great applications out there, many of them can be just summarized into one paragraph or even less, possibly 1 or 2 sentences. Now, the question number 2 is, who are your target audience? Now, this is the questions that I as a marketer can very well answer. Who are your target audience? I think this is the number 2 in our list mistake that the startup guys, especially the startup guys, they do. They have a great application idea. They know it's going to work, but they really don't know who is this going to work for. All right. So, for example, you want to create an application for travel industry. Wow, and we get this inquiry all the time, right? I want to create an application which is going to solve all problems for everyone in the travel industry. It doesn't work that way.
Absolutely.
Travel industry is a big industry, and as a marketer for many years, the one thing that I've learned is segmentation. You need to really know your audience. The narrower it is, the better it is for you, the better chances there is for you to succeed. So, again, coming back to Airbnb, how narrow it can get? It's pretty simple. Bread and breakfast in a closest place, a good one that you can find a rental, right? It does not claim to solve a lot of problems. It does not claim to solve a problem for the entire industry. And the same goes for Uber and many more applications. Uber just talks about finding your cab nearby. That's it, very simple. So go for the niche, find out your audience, go for the demographics, like who are your target audience, what are they age, are they really young people, are they millennials, are they business owners, are they startup guys, are they working mothers. You need to be very, very clear about it. I'll just give you an example here. For example, what will be easier for you to sell? A fitness regime designed for single moms or pregnant women, or a fitness regime designed for everyone. I mean, when you're going to create a fitness regime designed for a pregnant woman, it becomes very easy for you to target. You know that there are certain number of pregnant women out there. You can find those and you can target them, and you can sell your application to that. The moment you say I have a fitness application for everyone, then you come into an area where you will find a lot of competition and big players out there.
Absolutely. So I have seen that a lot of clients, some of our customers come to us, and when I ask this question, this is one of our first initial interaction question that we always ask, who are your target audiences? And a lot of times I get the answer, it is everyone. Now, all 7 billion people, they cannot be your target audience for sure, right? So you need to understand, you need to target, even if it is, everyone in the world, then also you need to understand who is going to use it in what manner.
And if you have any ideas with respect to your own prospecting that you might be doing for your own app, please write it down in the comment section. What are the challenges that you have been facing till now? And we'll be very happy to communicate with you out there. And now with that, let's go on to our next topic, which is question number 3. When do you plan to release your app? Very important question.
A lot of time we have seen people come to us asking for developing the application, but at a later point of time, when you ask them that have you thought of any specific date to, or maybe a specific month to release the application, they ask for our timeline, which is fine. But then that means that you probably didn't do your own homework. What will happen once you release the application in the market? There are a lot of things you need to do, right? So developing the product is the easiest and probably the only initial step towards creating a successful product. After that, there are a lot of things. There are marketing, there are sales, there are reaching out to the users. Maybe you have different options you need to take care of, like maybe you will be directly reaching out to the users, or maybe you will be going to the investors for the next round of funding. So there are a lot of things that you need to take care of. So you must have a release date in mind whenever you are thinking of developing the application, and that must be properly you must have final date or final month from which you will be starting your planning for marketing and sales.
Absolutely. And if you're not going to put a date on the entire project, then the project might just simply continue forever. That's a problem with most of the project that goes on. On top of that, I want your input on also one important area. Suppose somebody is looking for an investor and they have a prototype when it comes to application. How do you think one should go about with it? If he or she is looking for an investor and they have a certain prototype, they have an idea, they have a certain working model with them, should they go ahead and release it and then look for an investor? what is the best way of doing it?
See, obviously, when you are looking for investors, you will be doing your homework, that who will be reaching out to. But at the time of developing the application, we always ask these questions beforehand, that what is your plan after you release the product. If you are going to release the product directly to the users, then we are going to plan it in a different way. We are going to suggest you that your application features should have these are the features you should have in your application. But if you are reaching out to the investors, like for an example, if you are going to an investor, then we'll be telling you, don't go for both iOS and Android application, right? Because you will be just showing one application to them. There is no point spending extra money. But if you are going to the users, then maybe you can cut down some features, you can have the minimal set of features, but you must have both the type of platform, because your users are using both iOS and Android. So that is something you must take care of at the time of planning your product.
All right, that's very interesting input that you have given, Swarnendu. You're talking about releasing it to to a certain number of users, get some input, and then work on that model. It's a little more agile in terms of product development, and I think that's one of the good way of going around with app, rather than just go implementing an idea and then looking for an investor and then trying to make it big right away. It's always good to test it with a certain limited audience, and then take the initial feedback as many times as possible, and then come up with a good working model, and then possibly go ahead and look for an investor. Next question number 4. Do you have any assumption? Wow, assumption scares me nowadays, Sonandu. As a marketer, I make assumptions almost every day. Most of the time, I'm not right, but that is the reality, especially if you are a startup or if you are looking to implement a new idea. You have to assume a lot of things, but there is a way out, right? I think there is a method to the madness, and we are going to talk about the method behind the madness here. So the first thing that I want to talk about is, where is your application going to work out? You need to assume, right? Are your audience little children who are going to be possibly there in a tab, not really on a mobile, possibly, right? Or is your audience a millennial who will be most likely be on a low-end mobile? Do you want a single version? You just want it for Android, you just want it for iOS, and will it work offline? Very important. So these are the initial questions that every application developer should ask themselves before even starting the development. What do you think, Sonatu?
Right, and these are just some examples of a set of assumptions. There are a lot of assumptions. Whenever we work with a customer, either he is coming up with this set of questions or the answers are ready, or we have to ask these questions. And whenever we are asking this question, maybe we are missing certain things. So it is always better. It is your product. You understand the product. You understand the market. You understand the target users much more than us. We are probably just a development company, or maybe you are going to someone else. They are your development partner or a marketing partner. They probably don't know everything about your product, right? So the more you have answers to such assumptions, the better it is for anyone else to understand and then provide their feedback and suggestions on it. So that is very much important.
Wow. Question number 5. What are the risks associated with your mobile app? Do we even think about risk at the time of development? I mean, I get this questions a lot of time. Why should I even bother about risk when I haven't even started the development?
See, it is not only thinking about the risk. A lot of times we have seen people don't even understand that there can be risks. Okay. And when you are actually jumping into it, you are trying to analyze all the worst cases, and that is, remember, that is very much important. Understanding and analyzing all the worst cases is very important whenever you are going for a product development. Why? There are a lot of scenarios. I have seen people with a lot of who are very much optimistic, and that is a very, very good thing, right? Being optimistic is a good thing, but they are so much optimistic that they are confident their product is going to be successful and widely accepted by the audience. But after that, once they release the product in the market, the reality says just the opposite, right? So you need to understand what are the risks involved.
There is something that comes into my mind that I just want to share is the story of Snapchat, right? Snapchat, again, built by a millennial or young guy very good application. You just took over the market like a storm, and then yeah, Facebook came up with the Instagram story, and then there is a big war going on.
See, the market is changing very fast, and I have seen, as you mentioned, the example of Snapchat. Now, what may happen, and that I have seen happening for a lot of products I have worked with. Suppose someone is coming up with a very good product and they have some investment, they did a good job in creating the product in the market and they are releasing it in the market, and they had a competitor. Now, after 2 months or 3 months, that competitor is owned by another big company, and once that product is bought by a big company, now they have a hell lot of investment, right?
Yeah,
so they
firepower.
so they are doing a lot of marketing, lot of sales. Now it is, the products, this type of consumer products, they are not very complex to develop. So maybe both of them are having similar type of features, but the company which is backing this one competitor, they have a lot of money to spend in marketing and ads and sales. And the other company, they have probably spent a whole amount of money already in development and sales, right? So that may make your product die.
Yes.
Right? So these are one of the risks, you
Absolutely.
always will think of. You don't know whether it will be coming or not, but it may.
Yes, and if your competitor is a big player, he might just launch all the features that you're providing for free, and in that case, your users might simply jump into your competition. So yes, the risks are there as always, and with that, we are going to go into our next question. Question number 6: who are your competitors?
At the time of creating a product, you must be very much aware of your competitors. Understanding your competitors, what they are doing and what they can do, can make you create a product which is superior to them. So understanding and having a close, knowledge of everything they are doing in the market is very important. What do you think?
I personally feel it's good to have competitors. I know most of the startup nowadays, they always say, I am creating something for which there is no competition. That's not a good news for most of the investors, right? The investors, they are looking for a playground in which there are already an active players with an active audience, with a set of customers that they can measure. It's always good to go into that rather than creating something for which you don't know whether you even have the audience or not, right?
Yes, so there are different ways, there are different industries, and most of the times people come up with a product, there are always a competitor. We don't see someone coming up with a completely groundbreaking concept. Even when Uber came up with their concept, I have seen people, or I have read the news that there were already similar type of concept existing in the market. But Uber is one of those top players who made it happen, who made it global, and everyone know about them. But the people, there were still taxi aggregator model or taxi booking, companies were already existing even before 2009, right? So understanding, knowing your competition is better, and then you will have a complete set of arsenals ready to target the market.
Question number 7: have you done your branding right? And most of the startups, they don't even understand the term branding technically. So where do they start in that case?
See, the first thing is, I should say, is if you're not thinking of branding or marketing, you should start. Okay, I have seen, and this is one of our initial questions. Whenever someone is coming to us, in the first discussion, we ask this question. We didn't used to ask, but now we see, and the world is moving into a position that you need to understand that your customer success is your success, right? So it is not just creating a product for them. It is about also seeing that what type of marketing or business development strategies they are creating with their product. Now, from the marketing point of view, a lot of things can be there. And Ritesh, what do you think about the marketing plans?
I think the first place anyone should start is sit with a piece of paper and start with a branding strategy. Start with branding. Start with what is the target audience? Who are your buyer persona? What is the audience message? So if I say that I'm going to create a fitness application for pregnant moms, I already have my target audience, right? Pregnant women. Very, very niche target audience, very segmented. Helps me to find it. Next is, what is my branding message? What is my marketing message? All right. So my marketing message can be something like this. This app is going to help pregnant women do exercise, stay fit during the prenatal period, and without going to gym. Right? This can be a message, a good message, right? Because you are actually targeting a pain point that they cannot go to the gym. Plus, you have a target audience set with you, and then you're creating a marketing message. Just imagine how easy will it be for you to create an ad out of it, right? A Facebook ad out of it, or whatever branding strategy you want to come up with. So once you have the audience message, the buyer persona ready with you, I think half the work is done, and the rest half is just going ahead and executing it.
And also, whenever you are working on the marketing and the sales strategy, you will see that lot of clarity is coming. If you are a technical founder, I have seen this type of problems mostly with the technical founder, because I am one, and I have seen people think of a lot of features in the product. Okay, but when you are doing your homework on marketing or sales, you will see that you are actually going back to the features and probably altering them. As you mentioned about fitness regime for the pregnant mom, when you are thinking from that perspective, you will see that your application will start reflecting that. If you are not having that concept in mind, maybe we will think of, why don't you give this feature, why don't you give that feature, but it must connect very well with your marketing plan.
Well, very good. Now we will go on to our next question, question number 8. Do you have budget? This is our questions. Generally, we ask this question to our customer a lot. Not a very comfortable question, right?
Not a very comfortable question, absolutely.
So do you have the budget in mind when it comes to application development? Most of the people I see, they don't have any fixed budget because they have no idea of how this whole thing works. How can we help them?
Yes, so as Ritesh mentioned, it is a very confusing question, and it is not only a confusing question for them, it is a confusing question for the development company as well. Okay, because it depends on so many parameters. Okay, so whenever you are thinking of budget in mind, a lot of cases, startup or small business owners come to us and they tell that I can afford only up to this. What will you be able to give me in this? And then I stop them there itself. I tell them that if you have this budget in mind, then a very small percentage should go to development and the major chunk should go to marketing. They didn't even think of that, right? So budget has so many things. Okay, you probably don't need to go into the technical aspects, but you must understand that there are these separate segments. So there are product development, there are marketing, there are after sales support, there are business development. You must have budget for each of them, and you must do your proper research about it.
Yes, proper research is very important. Most of the people, they start, they lose all their money, and then they realize, oh my god, given a chance I will start it again and I'll not make those mistakes. But I think for many of the players, sadly, it's too late for them. Okay, by that time they've already lost a lot of money. So just write down in the comment section if you want us to speak on this topic as a complete video on the costing and what are the parameters that you should consider before coming up with the complete budget analysis for the application development, and we'll be very happy to create a video on that as well. Okay, with that, let's move on to our 9th question. Are there any design consideration or constraint? Oh my god, now we are getting technical here. Huh?
Yes, we are done with the planning stage. Now we are jumping into the product development, and product development starts with design, right? So design is something most of us overlook. Okay, we don't pay attention to that only because if you are a technical founder or you are a non-technical founder, we all have features in mind, right? When you are talking about features, we are not thinking about the user experience.
Yes.
And today, with so many apps, for every thing I want to do, there are probably 20 apps there, right? I will be able to choose from any of them. And believe me, I have seen a lot of people, they just think design is all about creating a very good look and feel. It is not, right? Design is all about creating a great user experience. You must make sure your product is probably the easiest among all those competitors. If it becomes the easiest and it serves its purpose, you are done. You must spend a good amount of time understanding whether it is user friendly or not, and probably not, you alone you are not enough to provide feedback on that. You can take feedback from your family and friends. They'll ask them that whether they are finding the application easy to navigate, whether the flow is simple, whether they are able to find out all the pages they really want to go, either whether the flow is proper and it is taking you to the end of the application or not. All these things are very much important. What do you think?
I think design is a very important aspect for any development, and you might have a very good mobile application development company and they might be very good at development. They might not be very good at design. Okay, in that case, you might even look for a company who is good in design and a company who is good in development, and then go about with it, if that's possible, if that's what you want to do. And now with that, let's move on to our final question. Question number 10. What is your app monetization strategy? Give your take on that, Swarnendu.
This is another question, and generally it comes at the end of our initial discussion with the customer, and we ask this question, and surprisingly we find 80% of the customers confused about that. So they say, a lot of them say, we will be putting ads in the app, and we tell them the only one thing, that putting ads in the app is not a monetization strategy. It may be a way of earning some money, but it cannot be your revenue model.
It cannot.
No investor is going to accept that.
Don't do that.
So you must have a specific. A lot of cases we ask our customers that, are you going for a subscription model, or are you going for asking for a fee, or are you going to make it a free as well as paid application? So all these things are there, but your revenue model is your business model, right? If you are not thinking of it, then don't even think of developing the application. You must have your business strategy in place. You must do a proper research on whether that business strategy is going to work or not.
So yeah, you can take time, but you should have some sort of a clarity when it comes to how you're going to make money out of this application, because there'll be cost involved, right, in the entire process.
Right. So for most of the products, make sure you have a very clear strategy, and make sure that this doesn't change at the middle of development. And because if you are thinking that who does that, people do. Really, we have seen that at the middle of development, even properly invested or funded products, at the end of the development, we are almost ready to launch, and then the customer is saying, I came up with a different strategy, I thought probably this strategy is going to work. And we say that it's fine if you think that is fine, but ultimately putting that business strategy in the working application is again going to postpone the release date, and that is going to create a lot of problems for the product, right?
Yes, and the reason, my friends, we have come down with this video is for the fact that it sometimes breaks our heart. We have had clients who sold their cars, sometimes they even sold their houses behind their ideas. So we are living in a startup culture nowadays.
At least 3 of our customers I have seen sold their houses. I have 2 customers who told us that, wait Swarnendu, I am going to sell my car and then I am going to fund the product. We asked that, do you really think it is required? They said, yeah, I know what I am doing, so it's fine. But that is the reality.
Yes, and we don't want you to sell your house and sell your car and then realize, oh my God, we made mistake on that. Don't do that. Start asking questions. You might have a very good idea, and it's perfectly okay to sell your car and run behind that idea if that is a good idea and if you can go ahead and execute it. But asking questions is where you should begin. Just if you have any points, if you have any questions that you want to share, please write down in the comment section. We'll try to answer that. If we have enough questions, maybe we'll make another video as well on that, right? So with that, I say adieu, my friends. Thank you so much for watching it. It was possibly a long video, but we want to add value as much as possible. Any final takes, Swarnendu?
Yes, so do share your experiences also. We have shared some of our experiences. I'm sure that you also have some of your experiences which are relevant. This 10 list, if you see that we are missing any point, please share your thought there. We'll really appreciate, and probably we'll be sending you some goodies as well for your incredible thoughts.
Yes, and please do like the video, please subscribe it and share it with your friends. If any of your friend is going to build a startup around mobile application, this is the video that he or she should be watching right now. With that, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.